QWER, who you may call QWER. They are the Korean band who I've been hyping up, who I'm really excited to, I think, push the Korean music industry forwards and bring in the idea of the musician's journey much more into the mainstream. I just think they've been doing something really cool and bringing us a lot of really interesting pop rock music along the way. Now, of course, when we judge their music, as we are doing with this track by track listen to their third mini album, a lot of the time what we're really thinking about is this is a band who their whole thing is they're publicizing that they're on the musician's journey. They're learning their craft. So we're not expecting anything super complicated, but still you want it to be something enjoyable enough to be coming back to listen to. And that's where the idea of doing simple, accessible pop rock songs is kind of what they have been aiming towards. I think it's a very wise move, and I think it's played out really well in their sound. I think they've done songs that sound accessible. They sound like something that another young musician could pick up the instrument and play themselves. It sounds like something that is going to encourage more people to become musicians, but at the same time, it sounds like good, fun, enjoyable rock and roll music for the best part, with like a little pop twinge. Now, as we've been doing this, we're on to Overdrive, which is track number 4. Just as a quick recap, in case you haven't been checking out the previous reactions, and if case, why not? But first track, Dear, one of my favourite songs by the band altogether. Love it. Brilliant pop rock single. Really brings you in. Be Happy was track 2, which maintains the energy with a sort of a acoustic, but still very guitar-driven pop sound. Very fun. Carries that on. The next track, which was hashtag QWER, hashtag QWER, that took us in a slightly different direction. That felt very heavily produced. It felt much more like a K-pop song, but it did maintain the energy. The energy of the mini album was kept high there, but it was interesting that it felt much more like a traditional K-pop song in a lot of good ways, with the sort of fun production that we're used to from K-pop, but maybe it didn't sound like what I would necessarily come to this band for. And here we are, therefore, with Overdrive. Again, it's a sub 3-minute song, which is making me think that maybe the band are writing their own songs in this album. Again, I hope so, but if not, that's fine. But it feels like this is a mini album full of bite-sized tracks. I am kind of hoping with a name like Overdrive that we're going to get a little bit of the guitar back in. We're going to, I'm liking the variation of this album, but I want as many of the songs to sound like band songs, well-produced band songs, but band songs if they can do, because again, that's the movement I feel like these girls are at the front of. These ladies are at the front of pushing forwards. So let's check it out. The song is called Overdrive. I think it's called Overdrive brackets Overdrive. Yeah, all these songs have like bracketed names after them. Is that just like what they're called in the West and what they're called in Korea? That would make sense if the Korean name wasn't the same as the English name in about half the album at least. Anyway, let's go. Overdrive. Let's... Okay. It's quite up-tempo. Drum and bass. Oh my god, this is drum and bass. I'm waiting for the guitars to drop in. Oh, I love the tempo and the energy behind this. Again, I feel like I can hear the electric guitar quietly in the background. I really like the pace of this. This is so like... It's like drum and bass. You could really get intense to this. It's nice. Wind back the spring. And then punch in for the chorus. Yeah, the energy in this is awesome. very catchy as well. Oh my god. Pull that headphone. So are we going dubstep now? And that line as well. That's really cool. Oh, okay, so I'm going to have to do a similar thing I did on the last track and sort of review this from two standpoints. The first standpoint, as just a track on this album, I love what this does. We've had three sort of like medium to higher tempo songs, which have been kind of mostly funky more than pacey and haven't had like a really upbeat energy. This has switched up that energy and turned it to high speed energy. As I mentioned, this has definitely got like a drum and bass vibe. I remember when I was in high school around about the turn of the millennium. I'm old. Or maybe I'm young, depends who I'm talking to. Hello. Around about that time when I was in school, like drum and bass was really popular, and so I'm like so familiar with like the drum and bass sound, and this really sounds like it, like the that sort of like electronic beat in the background, very drum and bass, kind of like the low synthetic bass tone that was being used at the bottom, very drum and bass. You know, the tempo even is very drum and bass. Everything about this is very drum and bass. You know, UK style drum and bass that I remember from growing up and being in high school. This really took me back to that and reminded me of that, and it pairs that up with a great vocal delivery. Again, they got a superb singer. Pairs up with a great vocal delivery that's kind of like nice and sort of builds up in the verses. You get that pre-chorus where it goes like half time and then, like I say, winds up the spring, and then you punch in the chorus with that big note, and she's singing really powerfully, and that is great. And yeah, so as an album track, I love how it takes the energy that we have from the first three songs, moves it forwards, and blasts us already into the second half of this mini album. Of course, mini albums are shorter, so totally get that we're already halfway through, but blast us into that with great energy. I must say though, again, two of the four songs so far don't really sound like band songs though, which kind of leaves me in a difficult place. Okay, this doesn't sound like a traditional K-pop song as much as hashtag QWE did. So at least this is adding something a little bit different, I feel. But yeah, I could kind of hear a bit of guitars in the chorus, but it wasn't really clear enough to really tell if it was a distorted guitar or just a distorted synth. And a lot of the most prominent sounds, like the boot, was like that was a keyboard. And then the drum sound, as I say, it sounded drum and bass. It sounded like a produced drum kit. Could that have been played on electric pads? Yes, but it sounded, again, the reference to drum and bass, it sounds like something that comes from a DJ more than something that was actually played. The bass line didn't sound like it came from a bass guitar. So, yeah, I love this, but it doesn't really feel like a band song. So I'm a bit concerned that I'm going to get to the end of this album. I'm going to be like, I really enjoyed this album, but it's maybe not what I was hoping for from QWER. That's what I'm worried about. So we've got two songs left to go. We've got D-Day, Yours Sincerely. I'm hoping that adds a little bit. Maybe this is just the middle of the album is going for a little bit of a variation point. And we're going to get to the end of the album. The end of the album is going to bring us back to kind of what we come to this group for, which is the fact that they are adding that band sound. And I'm not saying every single song has to sound like a raw live performance. I'm really not. If anything, I don't even want that from the bands I like. A lot of my favourite bands, I like bands who lean into a bit of studio production, use interesting and clever sounds. But I still, at the core, at the heart, I still want it to feel like there was a band who played the core of the song and then did creative things around it. I definitely feel that was the case for the first two songs. For hashtag QWER and Overdrive, I believe that there's a band who played the core songs and then stuff was done around it, but it doesn't feel like that. And I've done videos commenting about the fact that I've reacted to their live material. I've seen them play live. They are learning their craft, but they definitely have the talent. So I kind of want to hear that in the songs, and I am a little bit concerned that two songs really showcased the fact that they could do songs with interesting sounds but still have that core band sound. And then we've had these two songs that have been really entertaining but could have just been solo singer songs, considering the fact that none of the sounds in the background really came across as being played by instruments. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I am definitely intrigued. Again, we're always on this channel, and I will say that just as a pure album, really, I'm kind of liking it. It's simple, it's concise, it's not overly taxing, it's not overly complicated, but it's playful, it's doing a lot sonically, it's doing a lot creatively, it's not overplaying its hand. Each of the songs is like sub 3 minutes, you know, pumping in the ideas that they have, and then just sort of wrapping up nice and quickly and moving on to the next song. So you get a nice little gallery of interesting sounds that you get to peruse through from start to end. However, like I say, I'm hoping that the end of this album brings us a bit around to what we come to them for. Anyway, I'm repeating myself now, so I'm going to wrap this one up now. As always, get in the comments, tell me what you think. We're honest on this channel, but I love to have the conversation with you guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you think. Tell me in the comments, and until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, or in the next video, D-Day, which will be coming relatively soon. For now, ciao, ciao.